All right, thanks for being here, you guys. Let's take a comfortable seat and we'll have a few minutes of quiet practice together. That is totally fine, Noreen, I understand. Good self-care to be here for any part of class today, really. Yeah. Okay, so please take a comfortable seat and settle in to this opportunity that we share. So nice to come together. Allow your breathing to come back to your body in case you have been sort of absent-minded about your breath or absent from your body. And when you sense the breath returning or you sense your relationship to it coming back, let your senses take in the beauty of the breath. Even if this morning your breath feels compromised somewhere, or you're having a difficult time letting your body receive the breath, bring your senses to it. So you could see the pathway of the breath in your imagination. You can sense the inner texture of the breath, the sensation of touch. We're not doing dynamic breathing right now, so you could listen to the quiet sound of the breath. So we start the practice by kind of getting the news of the day. Like, how capable is the mind of giving attention? In this case, to the breath. How willing are your senses to come inward? And what is the inner feeling of the breath in your body? So you're getting information at the level of the manomaya kosha, the mind and the senses, and the pranamaya kosha, your breath, your nervous system, your inner body. You're also getting news from the physical body. You might start sensing the quality of aliveness or dullness, any kind of aches or pains that you might be having. And yoga does invite us to notice all of this very deliberately and scientifically. We are studying ourselves the way that a scientist might study a certain plant or creature. We are studying human nature in ourselves. But yoga is also inviting us not to just have the scientific view, but also the perspective of the mystical view. And so what that means is we see, we experience, we tap in, and we say, welcome to whatever is here, knowing that no one temporary difficulty, no particular muscle ache, no particular thought pattern can represent the totality of who we are. And that larger presence is inevitably and ultimately very benign, very loving. And please bring your hands together at your heart. And we'll chant together. Some of you this weekend learned that you can associate the first line of the chant with the first chakra, second line with the second chakra, and so on. There are 5 lines in the chant, so it goes up to the 5th chakra. First line, may this practice protect us. Second, may the practice nourish. Third, may the practice help us to be vigorous and directive when need be. The 4th, may we overcome darkness and come back to that which is luminous. The 5th, May we not succumb to animosity or impatience. Sahana vavatu, sahana bhunaktu, savidyam karavavai, tejasvinavaditamastu, ma vivishavai. Sahana vavatu, sahana bhunaktu, savidyam karavavai, tejasvinavaditamastu, ma vivishavai. Sahana vavatu, sahana bhunaktu, savidyam karavavai, tejasvinavaditamastu, ma vivishavai. Om Shanti Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart and release your hands. Please open your eyes. Good to be with you. And we're going to actually start with a rolled blanket this morning. So let's go to the Sarahjoy side view. I'm saying that for Nikki. We're going to go there and use the rolled blanket, one of my favorite blanket positions, as you guys know. And we're going to work with the upper back to get started. So I want this to go down to see the floor. I had it organized that way earlier. So yeah, please go to the side camera. I'm talking to Nikki.
Yes, just looking for it. One sec.
All right, great. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so this little side view here, this camera view is for floor poses. So this rolled blanket is going to be for your upper back, and it's really going right across the back of the heart here. So I'm going to ask you guys to lie down over a rolled blanket. If you don't have one, you can use a rolled yoga mat. And when you lie down, the heart should feel like it's the high point in the position. You can take the arms out to a T shape like this. And go ahead and keep the knees bent. And you can close your eyes. Good. Yeah, so you guys are getting settled in. Nice job. So in the process of this kind of pose, what we're going to be focusing on this morning is reviving the mind and opening the heart. So in this particular pose, when your heart is the high point and the arms go out to the side, let the shoulders cascade down towards the floor. And see if you can use the breath to traverse this little mountain range that you've made. So the breath begins in the valley of the low pelvis and comes up to the sort of foothills of the rib cage here. And then the breath comes up to the high part of the mountain, the sternum. And on the exhale, take the exhale down again to the low belly. Now, in the same way that actually hiking at altitude, the higher up we go from the earth, the more thin the air is for us. We have the same process with the lungs themselves. The bottom of the lungs in the human body has more of the little sacs that exchange O2 and CO2. The middle of the lungs has slightly less, and the upper part of the lungs has the least. So I'm going to ask you to be deliberate about breathing in lower, mid, and upper torso, representing lower lungs, mid lungs, upper lungs. It is true that your lungs do not go all the way down to your hips. So we're doing this as a process geographically, knowing that the lungs are in the torso, the upper torso. When you are comfortably able to breathe, then stretch both legs out straight. Sweep your arms up towards the ceiling like this. And as you inhale, reach your arms overhead towards the wall that's behind you. Make the arms dynamic, please, so that now you're going to challenge the breath a tiny bit more. Arms overhead means you can't use the upper chest muscles for breathing. So you must use your diaphragm and your intercostals. Remember that the body has also back ribs, and the lungs are not just on the front hemisphere of the body, also on the back hemisphere. When you exhale, try making the arms a little bit longer during the exhale breath. See if you can connect to the kind of really deep abdominal tone that you can access for your exhale. Good, and then take your arms out into a T shape. Bend one knee at a time. Roll to your side. Come up to your hands and knees. Place your rolled blanket under your knees. You should have a yoga block close by. So a rolled blanket under the knees, and then we're going to come into table pose. Okay, and in table pose, let's inhale and move to cat pose for several breath cycles. When you come into your cat pose here, I'd like you to really sense the back of the lungs, this whole region of the back body. But try to get the inhale to start low third, then add the middle third, and then add the upper third, the high mountain peak of the back body. And then getting comfortable with that, we're going to now exhale to cow pose. Move the sitting bones and the pubic bone back and up. Bring your heart forward, reach beyond your upper arms with your heart. And see if you can still imagine the breath expanding, low belly, side bellies, the back of the torso. And now we're going to make this into a little vinyasa. So let's inhale to cat pose, please. Press firmly down with both arms, parachute into the back of your body. And then exhale, bring your heart forward beyond your upper arms, like an offering from the heart. Inhale to cat pose. Exhale to cow pose. Again, inhale to cat. And exhale to cow pose. Now we're going to add to the sequence very slightly, one small change. Let's inhale to cat pose. Exhale backwards to child's pose. Your knees are elevated, so the lower back is going to be more broad. Inhale to cat pose. And exhale, cow pose. Let's repeat that. Inhale to cat. Feel the back hemisphere of the body having this opportunity. And then exhale, roll back to child's pose, keeping your cat pose strong. So the back body is really like a parachute. Inhale, roll up to cat pose. You're waking up the inner body here. Exhale, roll forward to cow pose. Extend your heart forward, bring your gaze forward. Once more, inhale to cat. Use the strength of both arms, please. Exhale, glide back towards child's pose. Complete the exhale, then inhale, roll forward to cat. And exhale to cow pose. And then take your hips back towards your heels for child's pose, and bring your block over for your head. And try this. If you rest your forehead on the edge of the block, can the elbows almost comfortably reach the floor? You can widen the knees apart a little bit. So what you have here, you can see the upper back gets to drape the shoulder blades wide. The head should be supported at a height that the neck is relatively level to the floor, horizontal to the floor. And now allow your forehead just to roll smoothly on the block to give a little reminder to the stress receptors in the forehead. The reminder is it's okay to relax and be here fully. Invite your neck and shoulder muscles to surrender the angst or the duties or the responsibilities that they've been carrying. And try to imagine the back of the body still receiving the inhale and the exhale. You have a chance here for the exhale to be more complete because of the position of the hips to the knees with the blanket. Let's bring the head to center. Walk your hands forward, put your yoga block aside, but walk the hands forward actively while you keep the hips back in child's pose. Please take a deep breath in. Okay, a complete exhale. And now inhale and pull forward to table pose. Curl the toes under, plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog pose. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, plank pose. Once more, inhale, downward facing dog. And once more, plank pose. Touch your knees down lightly to the blanket. Reach back for a moment to child's pose. You don't need the block right now. Walk your hands back to your knees. Roll up and put the blanket roll aside. You are ready now for Surya Namaskar. We're going to come back to the floor in a little while to look at the neck and shoulders. I know some of you have had increased tension and sensations in your neck and shoulders. So please rise up to standing and we'll go to the other Sarahjoy camera, which I'm just saying for Nikki. Thanks, honey. That's so good. Okay, please bring your hands together at your heart. When you first come upright, let's go back to the beginning meditation in class and let your senses come inside. Invite your mind to give attention to the unaltered breath, the breath that is simply coming and going as it is right now. Invite your body to receive your breath. And notice the three things: the quality of your senses, their ability to turn inward; the quality of your mind, its ability to give attention to you, your breath and your body, not to the outside world right now; and then the receptivity of your body to the breath. As you notice those three things now, place the tip of the tongue behind the top two teeth and begin the Ujjayi breath for your inhale and for your exhale. Energize your leg muscles. Root down through your tailbone. And then with your next inhale, please sweep your hands wide and up overhead. And then exhale, bend your knees, come down to chair pose. Inhale, push down to rise up, upward hands pose. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana, touch the floor. Use a block or two if you need to. Inhale, glide your heart forward. Reach through the crown of your skull. Exhale, left toes straight back. Inhale to rise, upward hands pose in crescent lunge. Exhale, take the arms wide, turn your palms face up, just like over that blanket roll. Good. Now inhale, bring the arms forward and wrap your right elbow over your left elbow. This is the top part of eagle pose. Okay, so as you're breathing in now, you can't see very far past your own wrists and forearms, so your gaze has to be more inward. So turn your senses inward, bring the breath inward, listen to the ujjayi sound. Listen to where the breath makes contact with the back of your body, including the back of your ribs. And keeping the legs steady and your foundation steady. One more time, inhale to the back hemisphere of your body. Even press the elbows a little bit forward so the back body acts a little bit like cat pose, even inside your crescent lunge. Now, inhale, sweep your arms wide and up. And notice how the senses might have a moment of brightening because your arms are not now blocking the light. Then exhale, make a wide circle of the arms. Lightly touch the floor. Let's inhale the left foot forward, please. And then exhale for a deep bow towards the legs. Use your low abdomen. Inhale, glide your heart forward. And then exhale, take your right toes back. Inhale to rise, crescent lunge with upward hands, arms. Okay, take the arms wide. This time wrap your left elbow over your right elbow. Wrap as best as you can. And when you bring your forearms to be in front of your face here, which is the position, you can sense that your vision cannot go very far forward. You might even choose to close your eyes. And as you breathe, concentrate on bringing your senses inward. Let your mind have attention for your inner life, your inner body. And welcome the breath to include the back hemisphere of your lungs, the back of your torso. One more inhale here. And then exhale, release your arms slowly. Notice that the senses get to brighten a bit. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. And then exhale, take the arms wide and come slowly forward. As you touch the floor, now step backwards, downward facing dog pose. And inhale, roll forward to plank pose. So when you're in plank pose, take your gaze down between your thumbs. Squeeze your palms towards each other. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Awaken the center line of the whole body. Notice how your senses and your mind can go inside. And then exhale to Chaturanga Dandasana. Keep pressing your hands and feet towards the midline. Come onto your stomach, please. And as you inhale, toes pointed, please roll up to Cobra pose. Rising up, notice the senses tend to brighten. And then exhale and roll down, and the senses will tend to go inward. Good. Inhale to roll up, Bhujangasana. And exhale to roll down. We call this Pranam. It means to give a little bow of the heart and the head. Inhale, roll up. Those who like can also open the throat. Exhale to roll down. Twice more, please. Try to be aware of how your senses experience the changing light and the nature of inwardness between Cobra and Pranam. Here's the last one. And then exhale to roll down. Please curl your toes under. Center yourself on that midline again, so your hands press towards each other, the feet press towards each other, and then inhale up to plank pose. And reach backwards to downward facing dog pose. Notice how the senses in downward dog pose have also their own experience relative to cobra, which is called bhujangasana in Sanskrit. What is the experience of your senses here? Then as you exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Now when your foot comes up, take one block to place under your left hand and one hand on your right knee. Right hand to the right knee, left hand to the block. Okay, so here's the inhale. We're gazing down. We're going to fill up the cat pose part of the spine during the inhale. And then exhale and twist to your right. The inhale, gaze down, cat pose spine. And exhale, twist to your right. Inhale, gaze down, cat pose spine. Exhale, twist to your right. Once again, inhale, gaze down, cat pose spine. And exhale, twist to your right. Last one. And exhale to twist. Now inhale, raise your right arm. Nice job, so beautiful. Good, good. So when you raise your right arm now, imagine the senses. What is the response they have when the arms are wide, the torso, and your face open? Different than cat pose, different than child's pose. And with your next exhale, slowly unwind. I'd like you to lightly touch the floor, set your yoga block aside, and step backwards, please, to downward facing dog pose. And then float your left foot forward. If you have only one block because you're sharing your 2 blocks with your household, then take that 1 block and put it under your right hand. And left hand to your left knee. Let's inhale to the cat pose spine here. So you can use your right arm, your left hand, and your torso together. And then exhale, twist left. Inhale, cat pose. Exhale, twist left. Inhale to cat pose. So the pose does unwind temporarily. This is a little bit like, let's exhale to cat, like you're wringing out a washcloth. Inhale, cat pose. And exhale, twisting. Last one. Inhale to cat. And exhale to twist. And you have the firm support of your left hand on your left knee, but then raise your left arm high. Whatever amount is yours, so that your shoulders and heart feel completely supported right now. And you can experience again, how do your senses come to this moment, to this pose? Different than eagle pose arms. Different than meditation. And then let's exhale and release that slowly down. Put your yoga block aside and please step forward with your back foot, your right foot. Now inhale, glide your heart forward and explore what the senses do with that gesture. And then exhale to deeply bow towards your legs. Then inhale, rise up. Take the arms wide. And exhale, return to your heart. And pause and observe inside the body this amazing landscape. Invite your senses to be enamored, not of the outside stimulus, but of the inner life. I like to imagine the mountain ranges, the valleys, the rivers, the roots, the tendrils, all the pathways. And please release both hands. And I'd like us to explore parsvakonasana a bit today. In my practice this morning, I was really struck by a couple things. Where I'm sitting to teach the retreat this weekend, I was sitting up there where I was sitting with you earlier. And I'm sitting on a bright green physio ball, like the color of this block. And I like to sit a little bit sideways so I can look at the 3 different monitors I have to see you all. And this morning I was really aware that my upper inner left thigh was much different in tone, tightness, than my upper inner right thigh. So we're going to explore side angle pose right now. And this is a good camera to have, Nikki, thank you. So let's go to the right first, which I'm going to do my right. Hopefully that I'll remember that I'm not mirroring you right now. So when you turn your feet to the right, turn your right foot directly to the front edge of your mat and put the left foot on a tiny diagonal. So if the left foot back here is a little bit angled in, your left heel is slightly farther back than your toes. Please place your block here next to the inside of your right ankle. And I'm going to recommend that you put that block on the tall setting because I want to really work with the experience of the breath through here. Okay, so let's bend the right knee, please, like this. Great. And then place your right hand on the block. Take your left hand to your left hip, but then I'm going to ask you to gaze down. Okay, so pretending that you're back in cat pose, at least for the right hemisphere of the torso, press firmly down into your right heel, energize your right thigh. With the back of your right hip, root down like you would in cat pose. Press into your right arm and start expanding the back hemisphere of your body like you do in cat pose, even into the upper back and the back of your heart. Let your gaze come down and in. So the right hemisphere of the body and the torso actually feel like cat pose. And then lengthen back into your left inner heel. And as you press your right arm against your right thigh, begin to rotate your pelvis to the left. Then rotate the deep low belly to your left. Then rotate your hip bones to your left. Then the belly button. Then turn the organs in the abdomen right through here. And then your rib cage. And then the heart. And then raise your left arm. And sweep it past your left ear. Now let's see to what extent you can have a sense that the cat pose of your lower back has been maintained. And yet the upper back feels a little bit more like cow pose now. Notice how your senses respond to the expression of this pose. You look beautiful, by the way. The lines of your poses are great. Your efforts are obvious to me. Thank you for sharing your practice right now. Let's enjoy another deep breath in. And then as you exhale, sweep your left arm across your face and start gazing down. Put both hands on the same block and press like you're doing cat pose. Look back at your left foot. And then press into your right foot and rise up to warrior two. And try to sense that you can bring with you the cat pose in the back hemisphere of the body here, even though the heart and the collarbones, they want to float on top of the breath, as if the wings of your great bird in the sky, your arms, were held by the air underneath them. Close your eyes. Lengthen your right inner thigh towards your right knee. Press into your left heel. And even as the legs are stretching out right to left, even as the arms are wide, can you call your senses back home by closing the eyes and sensing the back hemisphere of your body? And allow the arms to come down. Reach for your one block. I know you're sharing your blocks with your household members, because everyone's doing yoga now, right? And then let's go to the other side. So place the block next to your left foot and bend your left knee. And place your left hand. Good. And let's just take the right hand to the right hip for now. You can gaze down and try to find the cat pose on this side of your body. So left heel and left toes, and press firmly with the muscles of your left leg so that your left side, the back of your hip, you can feel the tailbone rooting down. Press into your left arm and broaden the back hemisphere of your body, the back of the kidneys, the back of the adrenals, the back of your lungs. Even let your gaze be down so your senses are likely more inclined to be inward here. And keeping the essence of that cat pose, begin to rotate your pelvis to your right. You could imagine that the left knee and the right hip are moving away from each other. Then rotate the deep low belly to your right, then your belly button, then the upper belly, then your heart, your collarbones. Raise your right arm. You're doing a great job, thank you. And then take your right arm past your right ear. And try to bring with you that cat pose spine in your lower back and even in your mid back. And then the concept of a cow pose spine for your heart, for your upper back. And notice how your senses are responding right now to this slightly more open pose. This is different than child's pose, different than pranam. Make the left inner thigh longer and your right inner heel stronger. And then begin to roll down. So watch what happens to the senses as you roll down. And now with both hands, make like you're doing cat pose with the hands together on one block. And then keeping the strength of your legs, lower the right arm and rise up to warrior two. Close your eyes if you can keep your balance. And try to sense that even though this pose is more outwards in nature, your senses can be trained to come inward to the plumb line of your body and the back hemisphere of your body. And then as you exhale, lower your arms, straighten your left leg. Move the block to center and come down to parsvakonasana. Let's split the block for the forehead again. If it doesn't quite reach, it's totally fine. You can use the dog instead of the block or use a chair instead of a block. But find something that can support your forehead to be at rest. The lower you go, the more likely it is that it's going to be your hairline rather than your forehead. And when you come down, now the lungs are a little bit inverted. The back body tends to feel more broad, so the nervous system will consider this to be a kind of inward and downward pose. Let's relax the breath and just see what occurs in the unaltered breath. What you can do is also notice how likely is it that your senses feel that they can come within. What is the quality of your mind for turning inward? And what is the receptivity of your body to the breath right now? And then please walk your hands up to your hips and rise up to standing. Put your block aside and let's come down to work with the neck and shoulders because some of you have had questions about this. So I'd like you to take a rolled blanket, and what I'm going to do, you can come to the side view camera, Nikki. I'm going to make my blanket even more snugly rolled. So if you look at this blanket, this is called the frayed edge because it has the tassels and it's not that firmly folded over there. And this is the not frayed edge. And I'm going to roll this. I'm really interested in the non-frayed edge to be firm. So I don't want these little lumps to happen in there. That's why I just adjusted as if I was a pastry chef. I took that little lump out. So what I have is this round corner right here. This is going to be for the cervical spine, number 7. And then we'll be going like slowly, slowly down to do what's called C7. That's the uppermost. Let me show you here. C7 is the uppermost part of the thoracic spine. It's the vertebrae just above thoracic number 1. It's the lowest point on your cervical spine. So it's the largest vertebrae. When you go like this, it's the one you can feel poking out. So we're actually going to start right there on the edge of the blanket. We'll be going down about as low as T5, right where my thumb is showing here. Okay, so when you lie on the blanket, you are going to sit on it and then lie backwards. And maybe the first time you lie down, you kind of don't quite get it right because it's hard to know. Like I'm too low on my blanket right now on my spine. So I have to go closer to my hips. And then I scoot myself back and I'm right there. So the blanket is ending right now. The top of the blanket is at C7, cervical vertebrae number 7. And I'm going to ask you to take the arms into a cactus position like this. Close your eyes and let the idea of cat pose come back to the lower hemisphere of the body. So you're going to make a little effort in your abdominal muscles here to have the lumbar spine reach for the blanket back here. At the same time, we want your shoulders to be able to relax down towards the floor. This is a resting pose right now, cactus pose arms. And now to massage the tiny muscles on either side of this cervical vertebrae, I'd like you to do this. You're going to be alternating. So let's reach the left arm overhead alongside your left ear and pull the right elbow down alongside your right rib cage. And then slowly switch. Right arm long, pull the left elbow down. And switch. Reach the right arm high, pull the left elbow down. Reach the left arm high, bring your right elbow down. Right arm overhead, left elbow down. Turn your nose to your left. Slowly switch. Turn your nose to your right. Turn the nose deeply to the right. Switch. When the right arm goes overhead, turn your nose deeply to your left. And switch again, please. Take the left arm overhead, turn your nose deeply to your right. And now cactus pose arms, bring your nose to center. And scoot one vertebrae backwards on the blanket. Okay, so now you're at T number 1, thoracic vertebrae number 1. And let's repeat the arms. Left arm overhead, right elbow down alongside the torso. Turn your nose to your right. And switch. Turn the nose deeply to your left. And then switch and keep the lumbar spine again down on your blanket, please. And switch. And switch. And one more. Switch the arms. Rotate your nose to your left. Okay, cactus pose. And let's go one more vertebrae, T number 2. Take the left arm overhead, bring your right elbow down. Rotate your nose to your right. And switch. Keep your lumbar spine down against the blanket. And switch. And switch. And cactus pose, nose to the center. Okay, third thoracic vertebrae, scoot down. Left arm overhead, nose to the right. And switch. Keep your lumbar spine down against the blanket. And switch. And switch. And then cactus pose, and let's go down to the last spot. And we're going to pause here and just rest. The blanket is right behind the center of the sternum. So close your eyes. Begin to have your Shavasana attitude, please. Not that you're in Shavasana, you're never ignoring yourself, but just begin to have your Shavasana attitude, please. And sense the heart is the high point in the pose. The shoulders and the neck muscles can relax. And invite the neck muscles and the shoulders and the senses to know that you are bringing everything inward right now. Your senses have been responding to the outside world. That's how they're programmed. But sometimes what we hold in the neck and shoulders is like a million tiny moments of sense impressions landing in the neck, the shoulders, the throat, the upper back. You're doing really well. Yeah. Now it might be tempting for some of you to stay on this blanket roll for Shavasana, but it can also become irritating to certain people in the upper back. So I'm going to ask you to consider releasing by rolling to your side, and then find maybe this blanket goes under your knees for your Shavasana today. When you come to your Shavasana, Give yourself the beautiful blessing of really receiving the efforts of your practice. The efforts that you just so lovingly put into your practice. And so to all 5 senses, invite them to come back inside. The outside world is not calling your name right now. Imagine the center line of the body. So we're going to start at the crown chakra and imagine this line that goes down to where your hairline meets your forehead. And then softening from the hairline forehead spot, go down between your eyebrows. And let there be a melting then that goes out across your forehead to the right and to the left. And then from the bridge of your nose, this softening that goes down over your cheeks, flowing out towards your ears, allowing for this gentle melting. And invite the hinge of your jaw to deeply relax. And the center line from the nose to the mouth. Allow the tongue to become wider at the base of the mouth, more relaxed. And down the center line of the throat, invite the neck muscles to melt down to the right and down to the left. And for the senses to reassure the upper neck, jaw, upper back, all is well right now. And down the center line of the heart, out through the intercostals, the ribs, the muscles between them. Imagine this quality of melting. Yeah. And down the center line of the abdomen, imagine to the right and to the left, the entire sort of village of the organs and your inner life. You're all relaxing. As you sense that midline in the body and around it left to right, this immense permission to deeply relax. Let the arms and legs grow heavy with relaxation. Invite your thumbs, fingers, and toes to be totally at ease. Imagine your arms and your legs just growing heavier, heavier, more deeply at ease. Limp like the happy cat, quietly resting on the upper back of the couch with no sense of falling. Allow the arms and legs to be yet again even heavier. the bones of your hands, the bones of your feet, completely at ease. And sensing that heaviness to the limbs is also an invitation for deep inwardness for the senses. And with that process of giving the senses permission to become deeply heavy, right, completely at ease, we have to remember this state, this sort of inner quality, and start noticing when our senses are dramatically pulled away, when they get pulled away from home. Of course, the senses will be pulled. The invitation is to notice when that's happening. So let's take a little body memory right now of the experience of your senses being inward. With appreciation for the subtlety and the intelligence of your senses. Now just slightly deepen your breath. And begin to quietly wiggle your fingers and your toes. And please bend your knees. And you may thoughtfully roll to one side. And you can use both hands then to come back up to sitting. When you come up to sit, take a seat that's comfortable and upright enough for you. And see if you can bring with you the inward quality of the senses, even when you come back upright. And then join your hands together at your heart. So our senses are keenly intelligent, intricate, really kind of magical. And yoga teaches us that it's wise to have our senses within our own leadership, so we aren't so easily hijacked or pulled away, such that we are at home, but also at home in the world. So it's not that you're constantly turtling. This is a misunderstanding of yoga's teachings on pratyahara. It's that we know how to restore, come back home, and from this place of home then be in the world. Let's finish with the Om Shantis today. We can sing 3 times together. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May there be peace, peace, everlasting peace. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here together. So nice to be with you. I would love to know how you experienced the neck and shoulder thing at the end of class, and anything you noticed about when the senses go in some poses and then when the senses come out in other poses. I'm going to stop our recording so our